But I prepared my statement. I'm going to try and cut to the chase here.
Cool. What's your name?
My name's
Josh. Thanks for being here.
I'm a combat veteran. I'm also a former mayor and city councilman here in this district. In my political roles, it always struck me strange how many people of wealth wanted to give me money. Like they were always wanting to contribute to me, and they actually would get kind of irritated because I never took a dime. Right? I'm smart enough to know that money in politics, it implies a power that these people with money have over our politicians that the average constituent doesn't have. You hear some people here have already talked about having trouble with access, to your office and things like that. So I look at the facts, and I look at over half of your donations came from outside of Missouri. About a quarter of your donations came from this district. So 75% of the money that comes into your campaign or into your coffers, they come in from outside of this district. Your salary and your benefits are well beyond what the average constituent has in your district. So it gives an appearance that you're beholden to your donors rather than your constituents. And I've worked on that backside of politics, and I know those conversations. So if you see me shake a little bit, it's because I got, it gets pretty frustrating to deal in that environment. I didn't fare very well once I got in because I'm a very straightforward guy. I'm not here for a thank you for your service. Those are just words. Your service is what should speak for you. And my question is this: it's just simple. What specific, tangible action, not words, will you take over the next 30 days to prove you prioritize your people in this district over donors or party bosses that are at odds with us? So where they're at odds with us, what will you do to prove that you are on our side?
So Josh, let me ask you this before you give him the mic back, because we're going to have a discussion here. What issue or issues do you feel that our so-called party bosses are at odds with you or other constituents here?
Well, the way the National Party is operating right now,
The Republican Party?
beholden to Trump and a lot of those sycophants and enablers up at that level, is so contrary. Strip away the talk about trans. Strip away the talk about gays or brown people that are in this country with whatever status. Strip away all of that. It's so contrary to what I fought for and that I believe that our country is about. I know the political line, but I also know some of those conversations behind the scenes, and it always feels like the constituents in this district, I'm not pointing at you specifically, tend to be looked at as people to manipulate and to confuse and control rather than that honest effort to meet and engage with those people. And I'm not talking about, you'll talk about farms, these bigger farms and things like that. I'm just the average person, no photo op connecting.
So to drill it down a little bit further, because I'm a former reporter, I really want to know the heart of your question here. What specific policy do you feel like the party bosses, in your words, are at odds with this district?
Well, for one, I would be concerned with the militarization of our cities and the trajectory that that is going. And I realize that it isn't here yet, but that's how this sort of thing works. Is it starts in, I think Comer said in an interview recently.
James Comer.
He said that these are test cases. Like what he was saying was the things that are happening in these other states are test cases. And we hear our president saying things about how he's going to go into all of these other cities and do these other things. And I know that it leans towards Democratic-run cities, but I'm not naive enough to think that eventually that's going to hit Missouri. We already see that our governor is looking to activate the National Guard for various support roles. We see it's hard to dial down into one thing because what has happened over the last probably 6 to 8 months has been so contrary to what I know this country to be. That what I'm saying here with one case, that is just one case. If you would like to talk with me some other time, I don't want to take up too much time. But the overall trajectory of our country, it seems like if you guys seem ineffective at controlling what is going on here, and that what we're seeing transpire is like just we're slowly going towards you guys being obsolete. And I don't know if you see that or agree with that, but that's what I see. But what I also know is that I can't worry about all of this other stuff. I have to make sure that I'm protecting my community and make sure, but I can still see the trend lines and know that eventually throughout history, that doesn't just stop at DC or Los Angeles. That mentality creeps into our government, and in this case, it just seems to be steamrolling. And I don't want to be labeled in any party I'm just an American combat veteran who believes our country is better than it has been for some time, and the trajectory that we're heading on seems to be heading more towards the bad side, the wrong side of history.
Very thoughtful, very well explained. I want to address with you in particular, a couple of things, but the National Guard issue. And maybe I can ask you this question back too. We already took away the mic, but
I've got a command voice,
good,
so
good.
don't worry about
Do
it.
you believe that whenever it was a month or two ago, when Immigration Custom Enforcement went into Los Angeles, whether you agree with them or not in the deportation efforts, that's a separate issue, and threats were being made against them, and threats were being made, and the violence in the streets, you saw all that on the news, and the threats against federal buildings, that the chief executive of the United States of America had a right or even duty to protect those federal assets and lives by calling in the National Guard.
So what I think is that this all started by our federal government going in and attacking school graduations and things in a community that were meant to incite. So I've been in combat, and I saw Fallujah, for example. You can go and you can have your presence patrols in a city, and that's all well and good, going through and being a presence. But when you're actively attacking people that are not terrorists, they're just regular everyday people, to be a show of force, you're inviting that reaction that happened in Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
And so what I think is that the president, being our leader, being the person that's supposed to represent all of our country, should have worked with the governor in very plain spoken, like what they're doing right now. Both of them act like children. And that's why we have the situation that we had in Los Angeles. If you have the police in Los Angeles saying they've got this handled, and the police don't always agree with their governor, and the governor's saying it, and the mayor is saying it, and you're going into these cities and acting the way you are, you're inviting a reaction. And in my head, I've seen this play out. Are you doing it on purpose to get this reaction so that you have justification?
So you think President Trump was somehow, or the administration was inciting that activity?
Yes.
If I had to offer an idea, Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is very much.
He is the deputy chief of
Yeah,
staff.
he is very much about.
Okay, all right, let's move on to DC,
Okay.
which is a federal entity, the District of Columbia. The president does have the authority to go in a 30-day period to assist with law enforcement there. That's what he's done to go try to clean up DC.
He didn't do it January 6th.
Yes.
He actually said he did not have the authority to do it on January 6th.
Yeah, let's listen.
Do you feel that the president had the authority and should be using the National Guard in the District of Columbia this time?
I try to look at it in totality, and when he's doing this, but then he's also threatening other cities, I can't believe that in good faith he honestly means what he is saying.
So you simply don't trust Trump?
We don't trust you either.
I believe that the evidence and using logic, it's hard to trust that he is doing what he is saying for the reasons. And why I bring this to you is because whether you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever, you represent us
Right.
and not the National Party. So this is the
Right.
type of engagement I'm looking for, someone who will fight for us against him when he is at odds with. I'm not talking about what you can convince people is right or wrong. Like, I'm talking about actual right and
But
wrong.
when I see him going against the Constitution, you're wanting me to make a stand.
Exactly.
Here, here. Here, here. Emoluments, Fifth Amendment.
Move on.
Yes.
So we have the World Cup coming in less than a year to Kansas City. They're not prepared for that. Crime is out of control. There was another mass shooting up there over the weekend. I think 3 people killed in a parking lot near downtown. It's a horrible situation. More than 100 murders in Kansas City this year, and we're not even through August. Mike Kehoe, our governor, ran on a platform of trying to make Missouri safer, much like President Trump ran on making America safer, and I ran on that too, making America more secure. I think we all should have the ability to go out to our streets and our places of business and feel safe, and I'm sure you would agree with that. If Mike Kehoe asked President Trump to bring the National Guard in to help with FIFA, the World Cup, where we're going to have more than almost 3 million extra people here from all around the world, would you be in favor of that?
He's got his own National Guard. The governor does. He doesn't need to ask Trump for anything. He can literally put them into play.
The State Guard, yes,
So-
Missouri.
Yeah, that's what the National Guard is.
Right, but he can
State
activate
Guard.
them federally. I
So-
think that's what I'm
So
asking.
what I'm saying is, the governor, if he feels he needs more assistance from the federal government outside of Missouri, just the same as with FEMA and disasters that hit, like in St. Louis and such, that's what our governors are supposed to do. But I'm more concerned with the checks. Like, we can cross that bridge when it comes if our Missouri Guard is more heavy-handed or they step out of line. I'm talking about the national level, which you're supposed to be protecting us from. Overreach there and undercutting the Constitution. So to answer your question, very much, I think the Missouri National Guard could handle it. If they couldn't handle it in conjunction with the police, he would, in the best or in ideal terms, he would ask the federal government for assistance.
Okay. I appreciate the conversation. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much. Who has the mic next?